So the context of what I want to do with you right now is some front to back figure-8 drills. So we were doing the same thing before. They were big. Now I want to do it small. So I want you to just get a sense of that. So if you are spinning your left poi in front of you, counterclockwise, so do this with me. Left poi in front of you, counterclockwise like this. So in front of you, which means you'll look at me and your hips will be parallel to the curtain in front of me. Over the top to generate it, to the right. And then at the bottom of the turns, when it's down here, what I want you to do is, I'll show you from the side, you're going to take your arm and flip it back behind you, changing direction, like you're throwing a coat over your shoulder, like that. We're just going to flip it back behind. You're going this way, you're facing this way. Ignore me looking over my shoulder at you. And at the bottom of your turn, you're going to flip it back behind you like that. Now, now, now. When you flip it behind you, the poi is going to be going outward at the bottom of the turn. So actually, put your hand behind you and then go outward behind you. You're still facing me, but it's pushing out away from your butt crack at the bottom of the turn. Now, as the poi is at the bottom of the turn, bring it over the top of the front like this. Now, so now flip it up like this. And at the bottom of the turn, you're going to bring it up and then push out at the bottom behind you. Yes. And then we're going to come back to the front, but look at me the whole time. Stay facing me. And then go back behind. And then in front. And then behind. So don't move your feet. You're just twisting your torso. If you watch me do it like with my full body, you'll notice I'm just, and ultimately as you get better at it, you could just do it with your wrist. Go one behind, one in front. One behind, one in front. One behind, one in front. And back to front. At its most basic level, you're doing a front to back to front, right? So it's a front to back to front, front to back, figure-8. If you look to your right, it's like you're taking a figure-8 and you're collapsing it on itself. You take the 8 and you bring it around the side. This is what you've been doing, okay? It's just when you were doing it before, you were doing it like this. You may or may not have noticed the correlation between those movements because when we did it with the big arm, it feels very different than when you're doing it the way you just did it. With the other way, with your left hand at your chest. So, no, still your left hand. So now go, yes, counterclockwise. So now you move it to the back at the top of the turn so that when it's behind you, you go over the top like this. So let's put it behind you for a second and just try. So it's front to back, front to back, front to back, front to back. Okay, now you're doing the motion and you're generating, so watch me, you're generating it all from your core. If you look at a video of a sperm, you'll notice that the head of the sperm is propelled forward, but it's not propelled forward by the head, it's propelled forward by the wiggle of the tail. If you think of the poi as the head of the sperm, you can think of your arm, your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder as the 4 major joints that make that wiggle possible that propels the poi. Right now, what you're doing is you're locking everything up and powering it all with your core, which is great and makes a lot of sense because everything that we were doing before is all powered with your core. And now we're going to get into the subtlety of notice how I'm moving my wrist and I'm rotating my fingers and there's a flourish and then my elbows are moving and my shoulder is moving. So now we're going to add that element of it. So let's start here again. You're going with your left hand in counterclockwise, and then come back to the front, and to the back, and to the front. Now, allow your wrist to flourish more. It's going to open and close. See how I'm opening and closing my wrist? Ultimately, we're going to put 2 hands together. So if you're turning your head, so I might do something like this, for example. If you're turning your head, that could give you like whiplash if you are reliant on it. If you weren't looking at me, I might suggest you close your eyes so that you could feel it in your body and you could feel the sensation of the move